Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you'll enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Earnest James, and I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important relationships a young lady can have. And therefore, my mission is to promote the daddy daughter relationship by sharing the voices of girl dads to the world. So, check out our podcast on every platform where podcasts can be listened to. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with your host, Earnest James.
Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Tees. With our inspirational tees, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Tees. Get some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tee and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Tees at dealtohealtees.myshopify.com.
Hey guys, this is Ernest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $eJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed.
Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Ernest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you listen, like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Don't keep it to yourself, but share it with someone else. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button and also hitting the little bell on the YouTube channel so that you guys don't miss an episode. Definitely want to make sure that you guys do that. We definitely want to share and get our listenership up, get our subscribers up, letting people know that we're out here putting out a good message. So if you guys are listening, that means you must obviously you love it, right? And so you guys can come out and support the podcast, let people know that we're here. So thank you guys once again for doing that. Also, I'm going to tell you guys how you can win $100 from the podcast. That it doesn't going to cost you anything, right? But you got to stay until the end of the podcast to get that information. All right. So usually, this is where I would say, we're here with a guest, but we have no guest today. It is just me. And this episode, before we get started, even with the episode, one of the things I want to announce that I'm very proud of. So this is our new product of the week, which is something that we had started doing with the product of the week, which of course you guys know that we are a self-sustained podcast. And so we the way that we stay on the air, the way that we do what we need to do is by bringing you services and products that you can purchase in order to help us stay on the air. So I'm very happy and excited about the newest thing that I have for our product of the week, which is my new ebook called Start Your Podcast Now in Only 3 Steps, right? It's called Start Your Podcast Now in Only 3 Steps. It's a podcast. It is a ebook that can be bought at ebooksbyejames.com. That's ebooksbyejames.com. Made that real simple, as well as our other ebooks that we have there. Um, but I'm very happy about that. If you ever wanted to start a podcast, I've made it really simple how you can start it, get started in only 3 steps. You probably can do it in one day. You can be up and running with your podcast. So that is the Start Your Podcast Now ebook in only 3 steps. And that is now available at the eBooks by E. James podcast. So make sure you guys check that out. So again, like I would usually say today, like any other day, we are blessed with a guest, but today we don't have a guest. It is just me. And I really wanted to, even though our podcast is actually geared to healing, healing and being able to move forward, like motivation, healing, motivation, fulfilling your purpose type things. But one of the things that I am, right, by trade, I am a bricklayer by trade. And so one of the things that I really push is the building trades as far as careers are concerned. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the building trades today, because I had a conversation with one of my nephews recently who recently joined a building trade. I think he joined sprinkler fitters. And so having that conversation with him and definitely talking to other young men and other people in my family about joining the building trades. One of the things my dad always taught me, my dad is a mechanic. And one of the things he always taught me was get something that no one can take away from you. And that's number one, knowledge. And number two is the ability to work with your hands, right? Because with a simple toolbox, right, and some tools, the right tools, you can build something, right? You can learn something. You can learn the trade. You can learn the skill that you could do with your hands. That doesn't take much outside of that. Just a couple hand tools and the ability and the knowledge to know how to do it. You can build something. And so he always taught me, my dad always taught me, get something that no one can take away from you, right? And that is the knowledge and the skill to be able to work with your hands. And so that's something that I always took with me. And so when I'm talking to young people, I always tell them, you want to go, you want to be able to learn something that you can do with as little help as possible, right? As little outside, machinery or anything like that. And so that basically takes going all the way back to the beginning of time and learning what can we do with these two things that God gave us, which is our hands. What can we build with our hands? Even in the beginning, Adam, after the whole situation with the biting of the apple and biting of the fruit, should I say, one of the things that he had to do as a consequence was he had to till the land, which means now he had to work for his food. And so he began, even back at the beginning of time, with being able to work with his hands in order to provide nourishment, provide food for himself and his family. And so I think that's one of our basic needs as a man, is to be able to have the ability to work with your hands. I think that every man should have the ability to do something, right? You might not be able to build houses. You may not be able to, make cars or put cars together, be a mechanic or whatever. But I think every man should have some kind of skill that he can use to use his hands, to be able to use his hands to build or create something, right? And like I said, even with the minimal bag of tools, the minimal bag of hand tools, a hammer, a screwdriver, or whatever, you can create something. You can build something, and that knowledge and that skill set, no one can ever take away from you, right? And so one of the first things, like I said, one of the things that I always tell young people, you got to have the knowledge, get the knowledge, right? And so the building trades definitely gives you the knowledge and the ability to use your hands and to be able to create something. So even as a bricklayer like myself, and usually I have the the bricks behind me, but I'm in a different space today, so I'm recording from a different space, and so I don't have the building the bricks behind me. But one of the things that the building trades definitely gives you is the ability to learn a skill that you can take anywhere, and use it, right? So even as a bricklayer, with the skills that we have to be able to build or repair a home or a building that is made out of brick, or even something like building a mailbox, the brick mailboxes that you see sometime in front of people's homes, and repairing a chimney or anything like that. All of those things is things that I can do with my hands, with the basic tools of a mallet, a hammer, and a trowel, right, and a level. And with those four basic tools, I can build a house. You know what I mean? I can build a mailbox. I can build, a garage or whatever with those basic hand tools, with the knowledge and the ability to work with my hands, right? And so all of the building trades gives us some kind of uh, knowledge in order to be able to work with our hands, which I think is definitely one of the first things that we need. One of the other things that I talk to young people about, especially when I'm encouraging them to get into the building trades, and one of the things that they always say, like, I don't want to be a construction worker, right? And so oftentimes I say, well, what do you want to be? Right. And then sometimes they don't have an idea, which takes me back to the second thing that I always ask and preach to the young people is you have to have a plan for your life, especially when you're getting out of high school. Before you get out of high school, once you enter into high school, those 4 years, you should be figuring out what is your plan for your life after high school, because up to that point, everyone has a plan for you. Your parents have a plan for you. The school system have a plan for you. If you're on a football team or you're on some kind of team, the coaches have a plan for you. You get up at this time, you go to bed at this time, you be here at this time, you leave at this time, you get home at this time. Everyone has a schedule and they have a plan for you. But when you get out of high school, everyone else's plan for you is done. And now you have to have a plan for yourself in order to move forward. And if you don't have a plan, you usually fall by the wayside of even following someone else's plan or whatever else someone has going on, or you just end up drifting and not having any direction in your life, which you don't want to do that, because you end up wasting time. And time is the one commodity that we cannot get back after we lose it. And so my thing is, okay, what do you want to do? What is your plan? Right. And so oftentimes they say, well, I don't want to be a construction worker. And I said, well, where are you working now? And they said, well, I'm working in a fast food restaurant. I said, well, is that your dream job? That's what you want to do? No, I don't want to be that, but it's just a means to an end. So my next thing is, if you're going to work a job that you don't want to work, right, which obviously you are, then you might as well work a job that you don't want to work, where you're going to make good money, right? So the building trades makes great money. We do make good money. And so my thing is, even if you don't want to be a construction worker, if you don't have a plan right now, if you don't have a plan to, okay, what do I want to do? What's my next season? Join a building trade and learn a skill while you figure out what's your next move. So even in the midst of while you're trying to figure something out, you're still learning a trade. You're still learning how to work with your hands, and you're still following another plan. Because again, if you don't have your own plan, you're going to follow someone else's plan. Get into the trades. They have a plan for you. This is your 4-year plan. While you're learning this skill, you're getting better at this skill. You're also learning, earning money, right? And you're getting on the job training. Going back to that knowledge thing, you get on the job training. You're not going to college and going school, and then get out and then got to figure it out. No, you're getting on the job training. You're going to work every day. You're learning this skill as you learn it, as you're doing it. You're learning it on the job, right? And so we're getting that knowledge, which is the next part that I definitely push to the young ones. Definitely get the knowledge so that you can go. And of course, like I said, with the building trades, the union building trade. Let me say also union. I am definitely a advocate for the unions, the union building trades, because you can get into building trades without being in a union, but you're not going to get the benefits of being in a union job, because the benefits also go with the pay. Non-union, definitely lower pay. Non-union, a lot of times don't have safety requirements to make sure that you're safe on the job, and it also don't have the health benefits. So you definitely want to go union, and if you go union with the building trades, you can join. Once you join, you will be put into an apprenticeship program, which is what I was kind of explaining to you. Apprenticeship program where they teach you your skills, you learn, you have some classroom time, but the majority of the time you're actually on the job learning from your peers, from the other tradesmen that you are working with, and it gives you real time, real knowledge, while you're learning. And so you definitely want to get that. And lastly, what I also talk about is preparation, right? It gives you time. It gives you time. While if you don't have a plan, if you do have a plan and you want to go into construction, that's great. But if you don't have a plan, it gives you time to build your plan, to come up with your plan while you're still learning the skill and while you're still preparing for your future. Because the building trades, again, like I said, we make decent money. And so you're able, especially if you get in at a young age, you're able to start planning for your future. You're able to start investing some of your money now while you're young. And one of the things that I always say is handle your business now so you can play later. Handle your business now so you can play later. Because a lot of times we're so busy, especially as young people, when we don't have the proper direction. And even sometimes when we get out of high school, or we're in our high school or young ages, even after you get out of high school, when we're in our 20s, we're so focused on having fun and playing that we don't take out the time to think about what our future is going to look like. And I always say this: you're going to be old longer than you're going to be young. So why not prepare for being old so that you can have fun while you're old, than to try to have all the fun while you're young? Because while you're young, if you're really thinking about it, maybe in your 20s, I say just say 20. Let's just give it the 10 years of your 20s. From 20 to 30, that's when you're young. Once you get over 30, you start, being considered old or older, right? So if you live to be 60, that's another 30 years. So you got 10 years of being young and on your own, which is your 20s, but then you got 30 years after to be old and to live. So why not use those 20s to prepare for those 30 years, right? Or more, because we definitely want to live past 60, but I just use that as a acronym, or as a roadmap. But use those 10 years of your 20s while you're young, while you're healthy, while or think you know as much as you know, and you're still open to learning. Use those years to invest, to learn, to work hard in order to put yourself in a position so that after those 10 years, you definitely can go ahead and be able to have fun the rest of your life, because you set yourself up while you are young to live out your old days and have fun, right? And so that's one of the things that I definitely try to and impress upon the young people. Again, I'm a big advocate for the building trades. One of the things that I do know, which is going back to preparing for your future, the building trades is or does take a wear and tear on your body over time, right? Because we're manually doing stuff, lifting, turning, building, putting things together. So it does have some wear and tear on your body, which is another reason why while you're in it, while you're young, you're also making taking the necessary healthy actions, right, to take care of your body. Number one, being mindful of the things that you're doing and how you're doing it to make sure that you're doing it safely and correctly. But even outside of that, you knowing that you can start building now, putting things in place now, your health benefits, make sure you have the health benefits and the pensions and things like that to be able to take care of yourself when you're older, right? When, or to the point where you'll be able, when your body does start, affecting it, when your work does start affecting your body, where you get to the point you say, okay, I'm not feeling that I want to do this full time. You've made enough investments with the money that you've earned, because you started off making good money, the money that you've earned and invested when you first got in, you've done enough to where now you can be able to relax and work part-time or however you decide to do it once you start getting older and once your body starts to being affected by the years of working in the construction industry. So definitely still a great thing to get into. So I'm gonna end it with this: 10 reasons to join the instruction construction um, the construction field. So I'll just go over these the 10 reasons real quick. Number one, education, right? We talked about the on the job training to getting the knowledge to get something that no one can take away from you, right? No one can take the things that you learn. No one can take your ability to work with your hands. No one can take your skill set away from you once you have it. They may not be able to, give you a job. Like if you went to interview for a job or a position, they may be able to not to block you from doing that, but they can't stop what you know, and they can't stop your ability to use the knowledge that you know. And again, once you have the knowledge to be able to do it, and you have the ability to work with your hands with some simple tools, some simple hand tools, you could begin to open your own business or to be able to build things on the side and still be able to take care of yourself and your family because you have the skill set and the ability to do that. The next thing we talk about, another reason, is insurance. We talked about health insurance, being able to have health insurance. I know with the bricklayers, we have vision insurance, we have our medical insurance. Um, well, we don't necessarily have dental yet. Hopefully, we get that soon. We're working on that. But just the insurance and things of that, you want to make sure that you have those things in place. And as a union construction worker in the building trades, you will have good life insurance, right? Life and health insurance. Life insurance also, but health insurance too. Third thing, credit unions. As part of being in a union with the building trades. We also have connections with credit unions, which gives us opportunities, financial opportunities when it comes to different things that we're trying to do in our life, as far as buying houses or whatever that you're trying to do. You have that connection with the credit unions. The fourth thing is our pensions. We definitely have pensions and annuities that most of our union trades have now too, which is definitely going to add to you when you get into the point where you're ready to retire. You will have that ability to be able to have something to fall back on. And when you get older, like I said, you're going to be older longer than you're going to be young, right? You see all my gray. You're going to be old longer than you're going to be young. So we have your pensions, you have your annuities and things of like that that the unions have in place. Early retirement is another one. Be able to retire early because you've made the money that you needed to make while you were young, because you've invested, because you've put things in place over the years, saved your money, invested some money, so that when you get to time to retire, you can retire early because you put in the work and you put in the time, and you have the investments to be able to take care of yourself and your family. The next thing, a decent wage. Most of the trades now, I think journeyman scale, most of the trades is over $40 an hour now. When you come in as an apprentice, you will come in at half scale. Usually, for most of the unions, I believe, half scale will be around $20 an hour, which is more than what most people make. Some people that's been even with degrees and stuff don't make that kind of money. So as an apprentice coming into the union building trades, you will start off at half scale. For most of the years, I think most of the apprenticeships is set up the same way. You'll start off at half scale, and then you will go work your apprenticeship through your years of your apprenticeship until you reach journeyman scale, which for the most part is over $40 an hour in the building trades. And so, man, it's definitely the money is there, especially if you get in young, again, to be able to save money and to be able to invest while you're young, so that when you get older, again, handle your business now so you can play later. So another thing is job security. One of the things that I love about, again, learning to work with your hands and also being in the union trades, once you get your union card, our card for the unions, and I believe, for most of the unions, I think they're the same. But with the bricklayers, my union card, my journeyman card that says I am a journeyman in this trade. I know what I'm doing. I'm vouched for with this union is good in anywhere in the 50 states and Puerto Rico, I think. So it's like all 50 states and Puerto Rico. I can go with my union card and to any state and connect with the union of that state and be able to work. So definitely job security. And even like I said, once you know the skill set, even outside being in the building trades and you decide you want to go and do your own thing or do your own thing on the side or whatever, you have the skill set to know how to do it and you have the ability to do it and no one can stop you, right? Safe working environments. Again, in the building trades, we have union building trades. Let me keep saying the union building trades. I can't speak for non-union, but the union building trades, we definitely have a set of OSHA standards, a set of safety standards that we hold ourselves to make sure that we are doing each job safely and to make sure that no one gets hurt on the job. We have an employee assistance program, which definitely helps you with different things that's going on that you may have with your family, some therapy, some programs as far as helping you with hardships, just a lot of different things with that program itself. And one of the things that we have is, which is big now, is two things. Number one, ability or access to mental help, right? For your mental health, with therapists and things like that, for your family, not just for you as an individual, but for your whole family as part of that assistance program. And definitely substance abuse programs for those people who may, for some reason, have got hooked on something or, need help with that. They also have that. So that's just some of the things that some just 10 reasons why I promote the building trades. I've been in it for since I was 18 or something like that, and I'm 47 now. Been doing it for a long time in the trades, been a bricklayer for about 17, 18 years now, if not more. Sometimes I forget. But so I'm very definitely an advocate for the building trades, definitely advocate again for learning to do some kind of skill with your hands. I think that every man, every male should be able to do something, create something, fix something, build something with your hands, because that is something that no one can take away from you, right? To have that ability. So I think that's a skill set that all of us should have, whatever it is, whether you're a bricklayer, a carpenter, and not even necessarily got to be in the trades, but you could be a baker or whatever, a chef, but something, you should be able to do something with your hands to build or create something. I think that is a gift that God has given mankind. And I think that is something that we should all take advantage of and learn some kind of skill that we can use with our hands to be able to provide and take care of ourselves and also pass on to the next generation, to our children, right? And so definitely being able to work with your hands and create something is a skill that God has blessed us with. And I think we all should be able to take advantage of that. So keep it real short today. That's really what I wanted to talk about. So make sure you guys, if you don't know, look into the building trades of around your state, right? Just type, you can just type in union jobs or union building trades. Google is the answer to everything now. So just look it up and you can find out those things. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you guys are checking us out on our website, right? So the dealhealfulfill.org, dealhealfulfill.org is available or is up and running, that website where you can find out more about myself and what I have going on with the podcast, not just this podcast, the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, but also the new podcast, Girl Dad Discussions podcast, where I talk to daughters and fathers of daughters about the dad and daddy-daughter relationship. I'm very excited about that. Very excited to see where that goes, and answering it and putting forth a good representation of men and fathers with their daughters. I know there's a lot of talk about missing fathers and fatherless daughters. But there are some fathers out here that is very active, not only in their lives, the lives of their daughters, but even the lives of other young ladies, and being that male mentor that they need. And so that's why I started the Girl Dad Discussions podcast, so that we can have those discussions and let people know that we are out here. Also, you can go to ebooks by ejames.com, ebooksbyejames.com to check out the ebooks that we have. Again, the newest ebook is Start Your Podcast Now. Start Your Podcast Now ebook is there. Also, the Core 4, which is the Core 4 values that every daughter should get from her father. From Males to Men, which is the male mentoring book, and Forgiving Me, the 4 Steps to Self-Forgiveness. All 4 of those ebooks are available at ebooksbyejames.com. So make sure that you guys are checking that out. One thing that I'm very happy to be a part of is a forgiveness mission, is an organization called Forgiveness Mission. And we hold free virtual workshops every quarter of the year about forgiveness, what it is, what it's not, who is it for, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, and we talk about forgiveness and healing in that space, because that is something that we know that the world needs to be able to heal and to be able to forgive the other people and forgive ourselves for things that may have happened in our past in order for us to move forward in a healthy way. And so I'm very happy with that. Go to forgivenessmission.com to find out more information, because whenever you're watching this, either one just finished or there's one coming up, right? And so again, we do these free virtual workshops every quarter of the year. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, you can go to Eventbrite to register for that. And it's free. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So make sure that you guys are checking that out. So last but not least, one of the things that I told you guys at the beginning of the podcast is that you can win $100 from the podcast. So how would you do that? So you can win $100 from the podcast by entering our super subscriber contest. So first thing you must do, you must subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook page, and to our podcast on Spotify. After you've done those 3 things, you will text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0730 to qualify to win $100. It's an ongoing contest and it's random, which means that anytime I can pull a name and you could win. And it doesn't cost you anything. You're listening already. You're watching already. Again, go to the YouTube page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Facebook page, and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify. And after you've done those 3 things, text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0730 to qualify to win $100. Man, thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, where we believe, right? We believe that everyone should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And our mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problems, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I'm your host, Earnest James. Until next time, be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute.
Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you'll enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Earnest James, and I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important relationships a young lady can have. And therefore, my mission is to promote the daddy-daughter relationship by sharing the voices of girl dads to the world. So check out our podcast on every platform where podcasts can be listened to. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with your host, Earnest James.